Alright, so in this video we'll take a look at my sophomore game project at UCSC, IncognitOwl. This project was a blast as it was my first time working on a game with a team of more than just 2 people. The game's design utilizes a 2-phase system to combine analytical strategy with on-your-feet stealth tactics. During the day phase, the player can observe the map omnisciently and drop objects to their advantage. At night, they take to the ground as they maneuver through various army bases. So this first level acts as a tutorial under the guise of a training mission for our overconfident protagonist, Jax Talon. Jax is the Owl Corps' first subject for the IncognitOwl project, a program designed to resolve the war between the owls and bats with reconnaissance and espionage rather than violence. One of the first things you might notice is a similarity in the text system to some other games such as Fire Emblem or Advance Wars. Since the game relies mostly on pixel art, we wanted to give the player a chance to see the characters in a high-res form as to make them more relatable. So in this day phase, you'll see we simply tell the player to place the boxes on the X's in the dirt. This gives them a chance to become familiar with the controls for the daytime as well as see the rewards of good box placement. Next up is the night phase. At this point, the player must take to the ground and sneak his way past guards and light towers. As we approach our first box, the game explains to the player how it obstructs Spotlight's vision, a useful tactic to keep in mind. As the player continues, we introduce the night item, Snap Traps. Careful maneuvering allows the player to drop a trap in the guard's path, effectively eliminating him, as you can see here. Now, coming up is a great example of the animosity between 2 of the main characters, Jax and Athene. Jax spews this action hero garbage that Athene really doesn't want anything to do with. He acts like a loose cannon who doesn't play by the rules, whereas Athene takes a lot of pride in her work and is a strong believer in protocol. They both stand to learn something from each other, which is something we really tried to convey as the dialogue progresses throughout the game. This next level takes us into the real action, where the player has to really utilize the game's phase system. The player is told that doors signify that a guard will be nearby at night, and light towers signify a searchlight. So, for example, I could choose to place a box here, because it looks like it should block the light from this tower. Next, we'll take a look at this patch of dirt and see that there's not really anything it looks like it'd be preventing. There's not any doors or lights nearby, so we'll go ahead and check out up here and decide that that's a good spot. So we'll take to the ground, begin sneaking, this time with no interruptions, seeing as we're out of the training mission. So here's our first guard. We make sure to stay out of his line of sight and pop behind our box. And we'll make our way up here where we're met with 2 choices. So we can either take the right path and try and get through that flurry of lights, or if we still have our snap trap for this level, we can try and trap that guard over on the left and hopefully avoid the lights altogether. So stay out of his view there, and there we go. So we tried to make sure that we gave the player a lot of options when it comes to gameplay, and there's no perfect or right way to do things. Just because you will never lose a level because you didn't place your boxes correctly or you used your traps too early. No level is impossible as a result of that. So in this next level, this is the final level, and this is where the player must break into the final base by taking down this huge defense laser right there. So Athene gives us a quick rundown of the mission, which basically states that we'll start down here, and as we make our way up, we'll get to building 1, where we'll find a switch, and we'll come back down and through over to building 2, in which we'll find another switch. Once we activate both those switches, the laser will go down, and we can make our way into the final base and confront, the final enemy. So let's give it a shot. As you can see, we got a guard over on the right there, and again, a nightmarish light here. So let's see if I can pull this off. Not quite. Alright, well, for the sake of time, I'm going to stop there so I can take a minute to discuss the project as a whole. One of our biggest oversights was definitely the original scope of the project. It was the first time in JavaScript for all of us, and the lack of engine research left us working in a student-made engine with much less functionality than we had hoped. However, our biggest strength was definitely our attitude and determination. We were all extremely passionate about this game and our idea, especially after all the positive feedback on our paper prototype. This led to a few 12-hour work sessions near the end in order to really make sure the features we really cared about made it into the game. As the project's lead designer, I worked closely with both the art and programming teams to ensure the game looked and felt right, as well as keeping everyone on schedule. There's still a lot we'd all love to add to this game, and have considered taking another stab at it after we finish our current concept. Overall, the 8-week process took a lot more time and dedication than we expected, but I'm happy with the end result, and especially with the lessons and friends that came from it. If you're interested in checking out the game for yourself, you can find a link to it in the description. Thanks for watching.